Hello. 2020 has been special. For you too, I'm sure. When last we met at the PAFOS Congress, the EA was humming along nicely. But with the corona situation now affecting us all, the EA is not exempt. I took up these issues in my message to members in the June 2020 EA newsletter. And my heartfelt thanks go out to many, as our EA community has risen to the occasion in what for me was a truly inspiring way. Although we at the EAA are fast expanding our education and teaching initiatives, please let me now share my own personal corona moment, which is mainly about research. Much has been written for many years about a growing research practice gap in accounting, a tendency to worry more about getting published than about supporting practice. In the words of Bob Kaplan, one of the giants of our field, scholars underinvest in research about practice innovations because such research is viewed as unpublishable in top 5 journals. I think we all know what Bob is talking about. Corona shone a fresh light for me on these issues. I realized the new respect that science is now enjoying. Take virologists, who are literally harassed by politicians to provide new evidence and guidance on the coronavirus. How is their research different from ours? To me, at least, it seems like the big questions and their societal relevance are crystal clear. Researchers have the needs of practitioners and society at large firmly in mind, who in turn perceive their research as important. Teams collaborate across institutions, share data and insights, and apply a wide range of methods, all contributing to finding answers like building a mosaic. People realize that insights are always preliminary and emergent, with findings being reinvestigated in numerous reproductions and replications to make sure they're indeed reliable, because bad things happen if they're not. Clearly, virologists and accounting researchers are apples and oranges, worlds apart in many ways. Most of us don't investigate matters of life and death by any stretch of the imagination. Perhaps our big questions are simply less important. Also, many believe that social scientists like us should not act as if there were general cause-effect relations out there for us to discover empirically, that technocrats could then use to design effective means-end relations in the spirit of Richard Matysyk's conditional normative accounting methodology, or CONAM. Still, I cannot help but wonder, where are the politicians calling us because they can't wait to see our latest papers, which they need for their decisions? Wouldn't it be satisfying for us to work on questions with clear implications for improving society, so that even our kids can be made to understand and to see the value in mom and dad's recent paper? Of course, not all of us need to start writing corona papers now, but 3 thoughts may be worth considering. First, why not invest at least some of our collective research acumen in helping address firms, investors, and wider society's immediate corona-related challenges? For example, corona created immense uncertainty, affecting firms very differently. Transparency is now called for to sort this out. How can firms be made to provide this much needed transparency? What is the best way to communicate uncertainty? Perhaps the steady diet of corona-related data, flattened curves, and fast-changing scenario forecasts has made society more familiar with probability distributions, expected values, and confidence intervals. Assumptions that are subject to uncertainty and change may no longer be viewed as suspicious. This may be the time for firms to embrace ways of transparently explicating uncertainty by reporting scenarios, sensitivity analyses, or even full-blown Monte Carlo simulations, and perhaps make markets more efficient and mature in the process. These and other questions underlie the COVID-19 research insights of the German TRR 266, Accounting for Transparency. Personally, I find research motivated by a desire to ease the corona fallout more satisfying than just focusing on ways to exploit corona as an exogenous shock that helps with causal identification in some unrelated area. Second, many expect that some of the corona-induced changes will last or even keep evolving long after the acute crisis will have passed. Stakeholders may insist that what firms are now demonstrating they're capable of, for example, home office arrangements, remote audits, or online shareholders meetings, should be maintained even after the crisis. We too should expect our students to demand that we keep making those videos. In other words, will Corona turn out to be a major exogenous catalyst and accelerator of trends, positive and negative, in accounting? If so, can we as researchers help understand, predict, and shape these trends? And third, all of us are having careers, and clearly publishing is part of the game. But this casual term game that we have allowed ourselves to get used to is disconcerting. In a competitive game, we may start paying too much attention to the score. Some of us lucky ones are in that sweet spot where we work on research that we're good at, that gets published in good journals, and that we consider meaningful. But I suspect that many of the untenured faculty among us, that part of our community that the EAA has always focused on supporting, may not feel that lucky. Instead, they might feel an immense pressure to publish or perish. Working primarily for that extrinsic reward, the next publication, can feel shallow and stressful. It invites unhealthy tendencies to compare ourselves with others. There's always someone more productive out there. It denies that each and every one of us has something unique and valuable to contribute to our field. For the tenured academics among us, why not try and forget about our publication records and start focusing primarily on trying to improve practice and society at large? I see at least 3 good reasons. First, because it makes us happy. We all feel immense joy, flow, and a sense of purpose when working on a research question that we consider important for reasons other than getting a publication out of it. And research we enjoy doing will tend to be better research. Academic careers could be evaluated or self-evaluated against the question, what did this person, what did I do for society? Rather than how many citations did their work or my work generate? Second, I think there are hard economic reasons too. As a journal editor, I keep seeing more and more, it seems, manuscripts written by smart and hardworking people, mind you, that leave me scratching my head about Bill Kinney's second question, why is this an important research question, and to whom? Some of these manuscripts are technically superb, but seem strangely sterile and disinterested in the accounting phenomenon under study, if not downright nonsensical, addressing questions that no practitioner I have ever met would care about. Interacting with doctoral students, I keep hearing more and more, it seems, about exogenous shocks, cool identification strategies, and a desire to do something with big data and Python. I understand that identification and internal validity are important, but less and less often do I find myself impressed by how someone is on fire about a substantive topic, an empirical puzzle, or a pressing practice problem. Do we care too much about how we do our empirical tests and too little about the substantive issues we investigate? How long can we afford to keep doing things this way? Do we care too much about how we do our empirical tests and too little about the substantive issues we investigate? How long can we afford to keep doing things this way? With Corona wreaking havoc on academic institutions and governments' finances, research without a real impact on society that we can explain, at least in terms of long-term potential, may end up facing drying up funds. All the more reason to combine the useful with the enjoyable and start caring. And third, doing so may render academia more attractive again. The young people now embarking upon their careers, the Corona and climate crisis firmly in mind, may be looking for purpose, meaning and a chance to contribute to society more than any generation before them. I find it painful to even consider how many bright minds have shied away from pursuing academic careers because they worried about the grueling tenure process, having to perform in a high-stakes, winner-takes-all publishing game with little regard for one's true passions. And the game may be rigged too. Several recent scandals have uncovered manipulated research results in published papers in accounting and elsewhere. You all know what I'm talking about. In a recent webinar, Jim Olson, another giant of accounting thought, effectively argues that many accounting scholars do not care whether published results are correct. It wouldn't surprise me if untenured academics were to turn cynical about research entirely. They may view pursuing research imbued with meaning and personal purpose as a distant dream, a utopia inhabited by the tenured. This is something that we cannot allow to continue. If the gatekeepers among us, the reviewers, editors, department chairs, and recruiting and tenure committee members, if we were to rethink the performance measures we use to assess young academics and their work, much could be gained. We may be able to tap into new pools of brilliant PhD candidates and junior researchers, attract more non-academic funds, and be proud overall of the achievements of our community. I wish you all the best, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye.